Check, baby, check, baby, check. 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check, check, check. Good morning, everybody. We will be with you shortly. Check, check, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be with you shortly. Good morning, everybody. Oh, I can hear myself. Holy moly, lonely, only what I'm holy cozy in my only home without my only ceremonies owning it. I'm only throwing stones to get you. Maybe you can tell me, like the egg can make me hate the way forsaken snakes take their check audio. Break it. Maybe lay it on a plate, maybe shoot it out in space to watch it die. Either way, I ain't trying to lie. Why can't I hear myself? Check, check, check. Believe in anything that can get even inside a brick with the dough. Give me your ride all up in the dough. Look at you ride, look at my soul. Nothing to see, nothing to know. Don't you know me, homie? I've been on these lonely roads, hoping someone sees me. Check. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm hearing myself. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. So glad to do another episode of this great award-winning show called DYOR Live. That's right. It is. Let's figure it out. 2025. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. One day closer to the end of the year. One day closer to the sun going supernova and solving all of these crypto problems anyway. Yes, I like that analogy. Oh, this hearing myself is driving me nuts. Anyway, I don't know if Pedro's there or not. He was there. Ladies and gentlemen, he's not there. Question is why? Why am I hearing myself? I'll work with it for now. Check, check, check.
I hear a.
What's that, Pedro?
Do you guys hear echo?
No, it's not on our stream. It's just you and me. Give me a second to figure this out.
Are we live?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, give us a second. Yes, we are live. Everybody, welcome to the show today. I am going to work out a little echo in our ears right now. And so just give me a second here. Mm-hmm. Why am I hearing myself? Check, check, 1 2 1 2.
We are good. Nope. I can hear myself.
When I turn the microphone off, feeding us, I can hear. Could you pull your headphones off for a second and tell people what to do on social media?
Okay, guys, how you guys doing? Hope everybody's doing well. It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Glad you guys are joining us today. One of the things I think is really interesting, and this is what's kind of cool, is if you guys can do us a quick favor, hit the like, subscribe, and share button. And if we can even ask for you to make a comment on that share and then click on that link. And in doing that, it does help us out to get the show out and get stuff running. Now, also, that little comment that you can make, tell us where you're coming from or where you would like. Everybody knows that I would love to be on the beaches of Santorini or Santorina, the ones forget exactly what it is, or on the beaches of San Diego, catching waves and enjoying hoodie time with a bonfire on the beach. That's the life. Anyways, one of the things I think is interesting today is that today we saw a big push up with the markets, and who led it? You know what I'm saying? We had like some of the worst news and an economic situation, literally. And what's cool about it is this: we literally shot up. Makes no sense. I mean, if the BLS had reported what we were talking about over, let's say, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, it would be a sell off at the market so quick, it'd be crazy. But we're in this bizarro land period where oh, now it's really interesting. I just thought it was really interesting. Alrighty. And this trade is about to hit first target. Let's go. Alrighty. I'm going to bring down my target here, or my stop, and we're going to grab target. Alright. What time is it? It's 9, it's 12:30. Alright, sorry about that. So I think one of the things we can look at right now is just check out Bitcoin and see what's actually happening here. So we actually saw Bitcoin today. My screen share? Yes, it is. Okay. One of the things that's really cool that we were watching is that BTC was kind of playing off the tape. And I really felt like it was really sell heavy, right? Like you can see, I pointed out yesterday, like we are going to see a lot of sellers step in. But yesterday, I expected us to come in with a lot more volume on the sell side, and we did not. Look at it, the small little baby right here of shorters, basically less than the last 2 days, and then today, this morning, off of some of the news, we saw Bitcoin starting to rally. I thought it was really, really interesting, and even us going up, though. I want to point out that we did really put a lot of demand wicks into the smaller time frame. And you guys know, like I'm huge on it. We are going to go up, create demand wick, which means that is sellers stepping in, trying to short the market, and then the market up. And that means that it was defended by the buyers, and it pushes up the market. Well, this nice little rally here had no sell-offs from today. Look at this. Granted, it's a lot of good volume, but there's no real sellers in it. So for me, I, it screams to me, look, I hate to be again the bearer of bad news, but it's most likely going to sell off here. So be ready. Don't get caught up with the push up here so much. Now, if we do come down into this level here, again, you want to look at where we're trending off. You can see here that on the 200 and also on the hour that we're trending on the 8 period moving average. So as long as we are above that, we want to stay long. If we start to cut below it, we need to wait and see how the market's going to sell off. Right now, it's kind of like that wait and see, hurry up and wait and see type of thing. So nice little system here that I kind of like. Um, Also, some really interesting news today, which I thought was really interesting. Um, it's crazy actually, but basically, um, the strike targeted for Hamas leaders and Doha failed because the leaders had left the meeting room to pray, and since they left their phones behind, Israel didn't detect their absence, which is really interesting, right? I think what's so interesting also is this is that like Israel, you would think that you would understand what's actually happening with their prayer cycle. If they do it again, I think what's going to happen is they're going to, ah, man, I get this. I don't think Israel's going to stop. I don't think they're going to stop. I think they're going to keep pushing it, especially with what we're seeing here. The reason why I'm talking about Bitcoin is we know that a lot of Islamic individuals, especially rich ones, who buy crypto because there's no usury in it, right? And so because of that, it allows them to be able to buy crypto. But the other part behind it as well as this is that Russia came out and said, stop buying crypto through USDT, USDC, because it's empowering, well, America to perpetuate the debt cycle system that we've created. And it was funny is when we saw that, you literally saw an increase of actual volume stepping in. So I thought that was really, really interesting. Um, and this rally might literally just be people just spitefully being spiteful against Russia and that statement that correlated with around the same attack time that we think the whole entire blockchain hacks have been going on, and we just actually discovered through like the wallet situation how literally the dust has been just drifting out of their wallets and in addition to normal usury or normal users of crypto. So I just thought that was really interesting. Also, on the back end, watching Trump interaction with crypto, even after that, saying, "Yeah, we still all in on this crypto thing. Like it doesn't matter. Like we going all in." So I just thought it was really just the political. I am so stoked to be living at this time because there's not a dull moment. There's not a week that passes by where there isn't just something crazy happening, and it's just like mind blowing. Wait, what? Like what happened? I.e., the jobs report coming out today and literally being almost a million jobs less. And the reason why they were able to really succinctly look at that is one being that whenever a company goes through and they have to give statistics on how many taxpayers that they or how many workers that they have to pay taxes on, right? There's a certain number, and these are pretty well, the government wants their money, right? Through the businesses. They want to go through and they want to make sure that each employee is being calculated. So it's a much stronger statistic. The only issue is it's 6 months to a year behind. Yes, 6 months to a year behind. Exactly. And so, especially the 6 month period, so that means that this comes all the way back into March, that this is 1 million shy. And so as we start to move forward, and we already know that we've been losing jobs throughout the whole entire summer already. And so in this process, which I've been talking about, I've been saying, hey guys, these, the PPI, the CPI, watching the inflections happening with, you know, there was the PPI report today, right? PPI basically is the producer product index, producers product index. And so what it does is it goes through and it says, okay, how much money are producers paying for goods and services? Okay. This allows us to know what's actually happening in the actual report. And this correlates with the CPI, which is the consumer price index, which is how much we pay. This is retail, how much we go to the store and we pay for something. And then the PPI is what allows us to know how much money it costs to produce something. And so we've been watching correlated with that. This is really important, right? Jobs, but more importantly, coming in that correlate with government jobs as well as jobs that correlate with private sector and watching that discrepancy happening. And because of that, you're able to sit there and calculate, hey, if we're seeing producers struggling, like actually as the price goes up, which causes inflation, right? Keep pushing up and then it's starting to drop. That means there's not people buying in the actual hard or in people actual buying stuff in the stores. And if people are not buying in the stores, then that means that the producers don't have to produce as much, which means that they don't buy as much, which means that the people who are not buying things don't have the money to buy things, which means that well, why don't they have money? because either they're losing their jobs or they're getting their jobs hours pulled back. We've talked about how Walmart the last couple of years and many other retail stores as well as um, service sector jobs have been just basically laying people off or just outright just firing people and removing hours from the people that they currently still have working. And so this has been happening for almost 2 years now, and they're starting to really come out with statistics. I talked about how the Biden administration had literally been lying to us, like about all of this stuff. And now with the Trump administration, we're watching them at least trying to be honest, but things are completely falling apart, right? Yet the stock market is moving up as well as crypto. So it doesn't make sense, but in an inflationary aspect, to quote Tom Bilyeu on the Tom Bilyeu impact theory, if inflation is happening, you want to own assets, and if you own assets, you're good. So I always tell everybody, buy crypto, buy a basket of crypto, um, whatever exchange you're using, go through, buy a basket of crypto. I was talking to a friend of mine and say, look, when you go out to eat, how much money do you typically blow? 50 to 100 bucks, right? He goes, at least, man. That's if it's just me and my wife. If it's my wife and my kids, I'm blowing maybe 200. I said, how often do you go out? Maybe he says about 3 times a week. I said, okay, there you go. Do me a favor. Don't go out one time this week. Put that money into crypto. It's 50 to 100 bucks. Put it into crypto, whatever you would normally blow. Buy a basket of stocks on a major exchange and start owning things because then you'll be able to stay in front of inflation. Now, at first, it ain't going to mean much. I mean, right. But here's the thing. Well, we all know that we can stake our crypto. And if we stake our crypto, what does that do? That gives us an additional income in addition to, or not income, but capital gain in addition to, or gives us yield. I hate to use the word yield because your coins are actually working, but it gives us a type of reward. There you go, a type of reward for our coins that are working for us. There we go. Holy moly. Okay. Whew, that was so hard to hear yourself, man. There's nothing more annoying than hearing yourself while you're talking. It is so hard. We are back. I got no idea. Or are we, would you say technical issues? We are back, or are we laugh out loud? I got no idea. All right, got you. I hear you, Chuck. By the way, shout out to Chuck Jansen. Let me finish off that thought and then we'll go right back into shout out to our peoples. So, one being, um, because of this circumstance that we're in, if you have your crypto working and you're receiving rewards, you can then restake those. And right now, we already know that the market is already going up, right? Like we're seeing it higher highs, higher lows. We're watching it consolidate. And if the government comes in and decides they want to add more to the debt, you actually position yourself in front of inflation because what happens is then you see a capital appreciation in crypto and in the stock market. So it's really important to do that. And I always tell her, but if you can put 1 or 2%, it doesn't even matter that much because in a hyperinflation situation, your monies in the market will produce more rewards. And then what happens is as that grows, it will grow bigger and bigger. And then your dividends will make money for you as well as a capital appreciation of that stock. And the same thing correlated with crypto. Crypto is the same way, right? But you get a better yield typically on crypto than you do with stocks, just because the way the mechanism works there. But I always tell them, look to do that. I think it's a good idea. And we're actually going to, Chuck, with Fire Chicken, which we're going to go over today. Can you go over and create a whole entire system how investing into assets keeps you in front of inflation, and then put that out to just the masses and explain how to go through and set that up. Even a 1 to 2% of your of whatever you make could really be a substantial difference in the long run, especially with where crypto is at. And if you could correlate where crypto is sitting from a market cap narrative comparative to where it will most likely be, because we already know that the whole entire market cap of crypto is basically going to absorb traditional finance in a sense where we're watching things get onto the blockchain, right? And as that happens, it makes it more available for that monies to get spread out, right? Like if I'm making rewards from Crow, I can take that Crow then and start to use and buy, let's say Tesla stock, right? And so I'm able to diversify my investments in a proper allocation. In that same sense, I want to use it that it's really important. If you could show people that correlation between from a market sense of where we're sitting at compared to where we're going to be, and then just simply putting in, let's say 1 to 2%. Most people say you want to put in 15 to 20%, but because of right now, most people are struggling financially. Maybe at the most they can put 1 or 2% in. But even that is such a big deal comparative to if crypto goes from 4 trillion to 40 trillion over the next 5, 10 years, we're talking that 1% is really 10%, if not more, because of the rewards that correlated with crypto and dividends that correlate that with the staking and other mechanisms. And I honestly, I expect to see reflections kind of come back sooner or later as well. But we'll talk about that on another day and another time. So, Tom, how you doing there? How we doing, buddy? Since I can't hear anything, I just saw something shiny. I'm out. Oh, wait, they can't hear us? I can't hear you, bud. You're on mute.
Check, check, ladies and gentlemen. Check, check, check.
Can you guys hear us? Can they hear us?
Yeah, they can hear us now. I had to turn off the whole sound system and turn it back on for the past 20 seconds.
So
Uh,
they couldn't hear me what I was saying.
the last 20 seconds or so, I think. Um, anyway, I think we're all back to normal now.
Okay.
I think everything's good. All the work.
What's going on?
I don't know what the fuck is going on here.
What's going on? I can hear myself. All right. What's up, Jason Spurgis? How you doing? What's up, Vincent? Don Boy, it's good to have you.
Pedro, do you hear yourself talking? Oh my god, I have no idea what's going on. I honestly have no idea what's going on here
Yeah, they
right
can
now.
hear us. So I just pulled up
And I
YouTube.
can't hear Pedro now.
And
Great.
can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hello, 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 hello. All right. Um, yeah, I can hear us on YouTube. So I think they can hear us. All right. Well, guys, let's go ahead and move forward in the show while Tom is taking care of all that. Let us know if you can hear Tom as well and everything sounds good. Just check real quick, Tom.
Today's the day a whole bunch of important people are probably going to watch us.
Dude, listen, we're gonna move forward and we're gonna do a great job. All right, guys, they can hear you as well. You're good. I can hear you on YouTube. You sound perfect. All right. Let's go ahead and move forward here real quick with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is already starting to see it kind of pull back here. Like I said, we want to stay above the 100 day, or excuse me, the 8 period moving average on the 1 hour and 2 hour here. You can see here that once it comes up, this is where we're kind of sitting around that 212. I literally thought we were going to come down even further, but it's not, man. I mean, look at that. It literally went kind of, we kind of went, here we are. This is where we're at. So Monday, you can see here that Monday was literally a an up day, and we came back down to test that 8 and push back up. But what's interesting is that 8 is starting to become solid. You can see here on the daily 8, it's starting to become strong. So I'm kind of excited. The only issue is we're coming up against that 50 period moving average sitting right there. So we want to really be mindful of that here as we're coming up. That's why I think they're getting ready to do a little rope a dope, or we're going to hit that 50 period moving average. And let's check actually to see if we can find a zone. We're going to remove this zone here. It's acting as support here. But let's see if we can find one here real quick on the daily. Nice little pretty zone right here. Um, Looking all pretty now. Let's go ahead and put that as a gray. We're going to do that right there. And now we are going to go to the 1 hour, and we're going to come right here. Can we see a zone here? Let's see here, 14. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Right up in this place right here. We're going to throw this on. Nice little party zone right there. And this is so that's a 4 hour. And then we're going to do a nice little dash. And so what I'm doing here, this is giving me a zone. And I'm picking it in an area that is most likely going to give me, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4. The next here, so we're going to do this right here. All right, here we go. There we are. Okay, we'll play this zone. It should be in our area here. So this area right here, I could see it's coming up to and then see it turn around. And it's all predicated on the 50 period moving average sitting right here, which typically means the 8 period on the weekly here. So don't get too caught. Don't get too cocky. We're still on Wednesday. We had a small wick on Monday. So we very much could shoot up into this area here over the weekend and then see it come down. That's going to be that 115.010 area to the 114.810 to be a good little area. Remember how these are played. We play these in a simple way. The market comes up, we see price step in and starts to go lower. We see volume kick in, which this is going to be the sell side volume. And we want to see seller wicks. That's basically the top wick on top. As the price comes in, hits it, we see it come down. We see seller wicks on the smaller time frames, like the 5 and 15 minute, start to get put in. And then it lets us know that we want to come down. And so that's what we're looking for up in this area here. And as you can see, it came down to this area right here, which where the buyer wicks are sitting at. You can see how it's wanting to push up. So you can see this right here. See that, guys? Come down. And this is what we're looking. You can see here why, and this is just more of an example of why I trade this way, right? That this area comes down and pushes up. And it's probably going to go up, back up into this area here. So that's where I'm expecting it to go. And then once it comes up into this area here, expect it to kind of continue lower here. Let's go ahead and remove that. All righty. Tom, how you doing over there, my friend?
Good. I'm back. I
Awesome.
believe all the audio troubles are solved. Everyone can hear us on all the different platforms that we're on,
Awesome.
and the entire time I could actually hear you, and you did a great job filling in and going through the basics, not even basics, the Bitcoin and the news and all that type of stuff. I appreciate
No
it.
worries.
This is my last day in the remote studio. Tomorrow I'll be back in the Ottawa studio. So,
Mhm.
that's good. I see the crowd, is quite vociferous here today with a good Jason Spurgis in the house. Thanks for joining
Mhm.
us. Thanks for joining us on YouTube, Jason. Really appreciate it. Vincent, oh, I guess my comment machine isn't working. You know what? I'm not gonna mess with that. We're just gonna talk about the comments instead, 'cause I don't wanna break anything else here.
Yes.
Uh, thanks for
Look at this.
joining us. Mikester was here for a while, couldn't hear, hope you come back. Um, Fire Chicken, drop the beat. Yes, drop the beat. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to everyone watching us on Rumble here. Let me see if I can actually find it. Here we go. And we've got a total of 10 people watching us right now, which is good, which means Pedro, we probably can do an ad here or something like that. Let's see, where did we end up in the how far are we behind anyway? Not too bad. It's like, the movie Major League, and Bob Uecker curses on the air and he goes, "Hey, F it." He goes, don't worry about it. Nobody's listening anyway. Well,
Well,
technical difficulties will do that for you, but thanks to everyone that stuck around it. As always, if you can do us a favor and share this link somewhere, it will help a lot.
it's
Help a lot.
interesting. Oh,
Go ahead.
I think what's interesting is that people don't realize that we really do have a professional system. Um, It has a lot of things. You wouldn't realize that, but it weighs really heavy on Tom's computer system. And so whenever there's one thing that kind of isn't set right, I mean, our audio is set through a completely different system that he feeds in. And then on top of that, the video aspect that you guys see, he also has another like kind of state of the art system that correlates with that. Then in addition to that, also he has the just everything that correlates, right? Just the video studio that he's developed is awesome. So most people don't realize that. I want to say thank you, Tom. You're doing a great job, man. I think
You're welcome, Pedro. And I went the complicated way here, as they say,
mhm.
for a reason. Is because I'm planning on the show being quite large, and us having a video producer, which would then be able to just jump right in here and be able to do all these things.
Yeah.
And you and I could banter on incessantly, and just click that comment button all
One
the
day,
time. And yeah, one day it's a person. If you're willing to work for free, and and do the video production of this, I
for
got the
now,
system set up for you.
for now, that would be great.
Yes, and believe it or not, yes, it can be remote. I run some of it on my computer. Slowly moving it to a virtual private server, but virtual private servers that can run graphics, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Those are expensive. Those are expensive. All right, so I got a little flustered there with that. Pedro, I'm gonna just at least attempt to get the um, social stream running here, the comment machine here going. Apparently, I deleted it all. Let's bring back the charts, and I will do that. If you're talking, you've sat on your mute button, Pedro. Or
I did not.
oh,
I actually,
okay.
dude.
Great.
So
I couldn't see the screen, so I didn't know what was going on there. All
sorry.
right, let's.
So I have a. Are you familiar with like these bags of spitacios? Spats, There we go.
Pistachios.
That was so hard for me to pistachios, bro. I love them, bro. And these are like $8. And I chew on dude, these are I probably eat 2 of those a week. They are phenomenal. That and salted these things right here. What are these called? The
Salt.
pumpkin seeds
Ugh.
right here.
I
And
guess
these
you put salt on anything, you can eat it.
oh man, it's so good. I love pumpkin seeds, man. They're the best in the world. If there's a brand out there wants to sponsor us and give you guys out there, I will gladly um, sponsor. Just send us pistachio bags, and I will eat them on air gladly.
Crypto
All right.
Mike in the house. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Would put it in the middle there. Give me a second to fix that. Since the show is already shot to hell today, might as well fix these things while we can here.
All right.
Mm.
Well, while Tom is fixing it, let's go over some just local news or not local news, but news that's been happening over the night. Over the night, is that even a
It
overnight?
sounds like an 80s song.
Yes. That is exactly what it is. Over the night. Okay, next. All right, so uh, Apple comes out with their latest phone, iPhone 17, 800 bucks for like the base model, nine or $1,000 for the one that's kind of like the Air, and then the Pro is 1,000, and then the Max is 1,200. And they've been displaying this whole entire you can now talk and communicate wirelessly through other languages. And I was listening to and it was like it's supposed to be a big deal, but I'm like, this has literally been out for 2 years. Granted, they've applied the system, but I mean, I've literally you've been able to do that on the iPhone, not just the iPhone, but you can literally do that on the Google phone, right? And
Right.
it supposedly reads your brain. You can communicate with people back and forth without talking.
Reads your brain.
Yeah, brain waves. Yeah, you connect it to like there's a lot of stuff here with a lot of these technologies where literally you can actually just talk with your mind and through the brain waves they can communicate. But again, like back in COVID, this is almost 4 years ago, they came out with a system that literally reads your brain waves and can literally go, if I'm thinking about Tom, like dressed up like Tommy Boy, in or Chris why am I forgetting his name? Anyways, Chris
Chris
and
Farley.
Chris Farley when he's in that big coat saying Batman in a little coat, right? And Tommy Boy,
Yes,
right?
I
That's like
remember that.
that's such the best. It could literally post Tom, and now it's not going to be perfect, right? It's still a lot. It's still working out the discrepancies, but these things have actually been around. So to make such a big hoopla over this, I feel like it's almost like just all hype because this technology has been around for almost 4 or 5 years, and in the tech world, that's like 20 years, right? If anybody realizes it, right? So it's like I sit there and I'm like, whatever. But if you notice, like, let's check out their stock. Let's go here. Let's do Apple. There we are. Their stock had a bit of, there we go, had a bit of a sell off, which was really interesting. You would have thought that something so big and revolutionary would have been a big deal, but you see the big sell off here. So I'm expecting to see Apple come back down to a couple levels here. That's going to be this level here, roughly. Actually, we're going to remove that there and just do this. Boom. Grab this, post it right there, and that's going to be that 223 area. It's at 227 is 1%, and then the other one here is this area down here. I think we're going to come and retest that 200 area. And so we're talking that is potentially 5% pullback there. So we'll wait and see, but that's kind of like what I'm expecting and find out. Wait, is that 5 or 10%? 20. Oh, that's 10%. Excuse me. So I expect a pullback of at least 20%. Excuse me, not 20%, 10% as down in here and potentially down into this level here. So, all right, down into this level of 115, but I really expect us to come back and test that 201 area there. So we'll see how it goes there. Also, Tom,
Yes,
talk to
sir.
me whenever if you want to interject, please do. Because I just feel like I'm this Mr. Radio salesman with my voice here. And I don't know if it's sultry. I'm using the FM radio late night voice that I hopefully is somewhat pleasant to people's ears as we communicate and talk.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I
Well,
have to
ladies and
say
gentlemen,
that we are all out of sorts today because of the technical issue difficulties that I created for myself here, trying to solve things. And if for those of you that are watching on YouTube, I know some of you are. If you heard an echo there for a minute, my apologies. I was trying to once again right the ship, but I think I tried to make my life simple, Pedro. By I have these macros buttons that I run, and I hooked them up to Stream Deck, and so I don't have my Stream Deck with me because I'm remote. I know I'm telling you this because it's good filler. And I have these macro buttons for like turn the mics on, turn them off, this kind of stuff. And in order to get the YouTube thing working right, so when we go to commercial, all is good, or go to when I do a Rumble ad read, I have made it a little too complicated, and I goofed things up when I.
it's all right. I
um,
totally understand. So, did you know that Trump is continuing communications and talks with India, and which is kind of cool. In addition to that, India fears regulating cryptocurrency would grant them legitimacy. And this was actually off of Reuters. And I thought this was really interesting because America is making crypto literally legitimate, right? And the rest of the world, it doesn't want to go along with it. One, because we're basically importing the debt system into crypto, and now basically causing the collateralization of it, and where you can sell that debt to the rest of the world through stable coins. And it's working. It's like legitly working. And so the rest of the world is trying to back out and backpedal. But remember, crypto is for who? It's not for the ultra rich. It's for the
Right.
people that, and so you're with a thing called VPNs and how they're actually working. I I'm kind of excited because that means that people are now going to really sit there and go, well, we know that this is good for us, and we're trying to get it really set up in a correct way. So it almost makes people want to buy it even more, which I find really interesting. Also, the PPI falls 2.6% lower
That was
than
big news
expected.
today and unexpected,
Hmm.
Pedro.
Was
It
it?
was big news. Like, suddenly, all the Biden era jobs numbers are getting reduced huge amounts, and then the current economic numbers are suddenly way better than normal. All of a sudden, I'm like, wait a minute, are they fudging with it now? I mean, come on,
No.
that
Well,
doesn't
here's the
seem right.
thing. Here's the thing. The PPI is literally going down because I think we're actually having deflation because people do not have the money to go out to the stores and buy things. So that means that most stores and most industries have a plethora, ching ching, nice word, of supply. And that means that they don't, or they're not looking to buy more from the actual producers of those things that they're trying to get people to buy. And so that means that you have an increase of supply in the actual people producing it, which means they've got to lower the price, right? And so this is where we're now starting to get into stagflation and potentially, dare I say, deflation, right?
Hurting my
Right.
ear.
And that means, and the reason why you're like, well, why is that bad, Pedro? Because when there's deflation, that means that the economy is constricting, which means our GDP is constricting. And if we have a
Yeah.
increasing debt and a decreasing of our GDP, which brings in money, that's a bad situation. But I keep harping, Trump, get those manufacturing jobs going. Let's go, Mr. Trump. I believe in you, man. Look, you've been making things happen. Get them up and running. Push away the red tape. Let's create some jobs so that we can actually export. The US dollar is at its lowest has been in a long time. And so we can get this at a low rate. People will want to do business with us because we typically create good stuff. So
Yep.
let's
That's true.
go. So this is not a bad thing. This is not a bad thing. This is just simply part of the economic cycle that we're in. And this thing is not earnings company wise. It's not giving me what I need. Charts analysts. Let's just go ahead and go investing.com. Let's see. Hopefully, this will give me the correct United States. Maybe that's why.
Hmm.
Okay.
For those of you watching, appreciate it.
There
Pedro,
we
we
go.
did lose a lot of viewers because of my buffoonery earlier, but that
Yeah.
happens now and then.
You're doing a great job, Tom. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for shining my ass, Pedro. I very much appreciate
No, I'm
it.
not showing your ass, man. Look, I get it, man. Life happens, dog. And when those life happens, man, we keep running. And you did a great job. You didn't just walk off and go, F it, we'll do it tomorrow. You push through it, man. And that's a real thing. Sometimes I'm just like, I
Push
don't want to deal with
through
this.
it.
I'm done. You did a great job. So real. Congrats, man. I appreciate you. But let's go ahead and
I've
move
got my
forward here now.
screen up. I've got my screen up, Pedro, while you're looking through it. Oh, I haven't talked about them much lately, but um, I periodically bring up what's going on in other countries regarding their,
Hmm.
Bitcoin investment, that type of stuff. This article came to light because the Germans and Europeans took down one of my favorite kind of movie sites uh, to get things that might not be showing up on my version of Netflix. If wink, 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 if you know what I mean. And when they took it down, I immediately got a call from the kids, like saying, "Hey, Dad, you got to subscribe to all these services because our favorite movie site went down." And I was like, "No." Anyway, the Germans seized it. They went and got a whole bunch of guys. They arrested 20 people in this uh, movie pirate scheme. And this movie pirate place had earned $5.6 billion in
Yeah.
Bitcoin for ads being sent through it. And Pedro, that must make, I mean, can you think, first of all, the failure of the Germans to seize that money and to understand the vastness of it. I remember when Silk Road was up and running, and that was amazing watching that. You could, you go to Amazon and say, "Oh, look, I can buy shower curtains or books or TVs, whatever I need." Then you go click on that tab, and you're like, "Oh, I can buy firearms, explosives, drugs," and you couldn't believe the stuff that was for sale. And I also can't believe that the guy got a pardon for that, but whatever. But the Germans didn't realize how much Bitcoin was sitting there. I don't know if the people can take
Well,
this Bitcoin now, or if since it's in a trackable wallet now, law enforcement's going to have their eyeball on it. I mean, I don't know, how well the Bitcoin mixers work currently after years of being put through the ringer. I mean, you can't tornado cash it because that's an EVM machine only. Uh, if someone's listening that says, "Oh, there's a tornado cash for Bitcoin still," there always used to be small mixers, but I don't know if the big ones
could run
still
80
work or if
million
they're.
or $8 billion worth. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe.
I'd be doing $50 a time, sending it to 16 different wallets at $1.63.
Yeah.
Whatever, but they failed to grab this Bitcoin, so it's potentially 45,000 Bitcoins that are now essentially dead. Um, because if the people claim them, it's likely that they'll be held or figured out who they are. I mean, in the was it the Mount Gox or
Bitfinex.
Bitfinex? That one where those two we'll call them kids because they were in their 20s. They waited 8 years or 9 years or something like that,
Yeah.
and then they started tinkling around with it. And law enforcement went, "Ah, gotcha, bitches!"
Yeah. I mean,
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. They're like, gotcha.
and they're waiting
So
to
they'll
pounce, man.
Yeah, they'll wait them out, and I'll just have someone has to put a thing on their computer just says, "Hey, if anything goes on in the blockchain that mentions this wallet address,
Yeah, they get
it
dinged.
ping me." Right.
Yeah.
And oh, go arrest them. Doop. So anyway, I thought that was very interesting, and the fact that one of the big movie piracy sites got taken down, unfortunately. Um, uh, and But the fact that 45,000 Michael Saylor's going, "No, no, I want them. I want them." Or
Right.
he's saying, "Yeah, fine, let them be dead and never be accessed," because that then just makes Bitcoin even more scarce and his haul even better.
I think
Oh, Pedro, I skipped the Rumble ad read on here because we didn't have enough viewers to generate one. So we're just in the.
it's okay.
Uh,
So I think what I also thought was really interesting as well as today is that Binance partners with Franklin Templeton to build a tailored digital asset initiative, which I really don't know what that means, except if Franklin Templeton, which is one of the largest and well-known asset managers in the world, they are well respected and they're really starting to get involved with Binance. I'm hoping we're going to see, it would be so cool, right? Because they are a US based system. And like fingers crossed here, right? Like a US Binance again, where we can actually go in and
Possibly.
trade. You know what I'm saying? And because it's already there, we know that, it's kind of set, everything's all set up. We just need the correct person to take over. And if Franklin Templeton was to do it, think about, because buying US Binance was such, it allows you to be able to trade, right? Allowed you to get into coins, also the future side of things without getting your hands slapped and getting in trouble. And being able to sit there and allow them to be able to take up Binance USA or US Binance is one of those things that, like, I'm like, come on, let's get this going. And if they can, I'm excited because of the trading aspect of being able to trade perps, futures, correlated. And then, I mean, all Franklin Templeton really has to do is just like just make sure you have correct and pay good money for the security aspect for the Binance system. But it's
Right.
already all set up. And so all they gotta do is hit the play or not the play, but the, initiative and then, get everything up and running, and we're good. So I'm kinda excited about that. We're gonna see what's gonna happen there. But it's if there is a company that I think would be good to actually take over, I think it would be Franklin Templeton. Just simply because there would be great money income coming in from them, but then at the same time, they're in the digital asset system. So we'll see what happens.
Well, on that acquisition note, I thought maybe a good side story to tell about Michael Saylor and crew is that MicroStrategy is valued at quite the lots of money type stuff. Uh, that's very technical terms there for market
I can
cap.
tell. They
Lots
did
of
a great
money
job.
type stuff, right?
Great job.
And they recently were being considered to be included on the S&P 500, and the S&P 500 group said, "Nope, we're not going to include you, but we are going to include Robinhood on there." And I thought that was very interesting, Pedro. Robinhood went from this small little app that these two guys were running, getting in trouble with because they're kind of skirting some of the laws, trying to comply. It was a disaster. It was great, and then it was even better, and then it was a disaster again, and then they got their act together.
Yeah, they
They
did.
got their act together. More importantly, they took a big investment, I think, from Citadel and a couple other people, and they decided to really break out of their shell. And now Robinhood is one of the top 500 companies in the United States, which is amazing. They've grown in their trading volume. They've grown in the products they offering,
Right.
and they're trying to recruit. They have a futures contract, not a perpetual. They have futures contract, so they're trying to recruit larger institutional investors. They've got all sorts of cryptos on them now, so they're trying to get more degens to play as well. They're doing a good job in growing, and the fact that they beat out Michael Saylor and Strategy to be included in the S&P 500. I don't know what the exact
Big deal.
requirements are. I don't think they just do it based solely on market cap and change it up every day. I
Mhm.
think they go through a long process of saying, well, this company may be really valuable in the top 500 right now, but next week it's probably going to tank, so we won't include it. Um, I don't know what that process, but I found that to be very interesting. And Robinhood, they just made a couple of acquisitions of some smaller companies around the world, so they would be legal. Like they bought a company here in Canada. I can't remember what their name is, and that company had all the licenses needed. So they're swiftly going to morph into being legal here in Canada. I think some people could still use them depending on your province. Not sure on that. I can use it here in Ontario, but I have an American account. Um, and they bought a couple of different companies in Europe as well. So they also could be out there getting ready to say, let's invest some more cash into something like that and pick up a large brokerage firm, uh, and really start killing it.
That's that's good.
I know, and
10-year
I should have
note.
bought their stock. I should have bought their stock,
The
and I
10
didn't.
it's alright, man. It's not even that bad because we're gonna see a sell-off in the market, so it's not even you're gonna get everything discount. Just make sure you're stacking your powder, and when you see the sell-off come in, you're able to deploy it.
I got a
So
daughter in one of the uh, most expensive public universities right now. There's no powder to stack.
well, we're going to have powder here shortly once we get our
Yes,
app up
that's
and
right.
running, and so when that starts to happen and we start to give real plays, right? Like the 10-year note, right? We saw it go down, right? People were willing to take a lot of the auction at 4.3%, which we've talked about how I expect the 10-year to push up. And so it's really interesting that if we see the 10-year push up, that means that the yield should go down. And so we talked about yesterday the 10-year yield coming down to our area down here at that 3.8. So it was a nice little play, especially on the auction, what they're willing to pay. And that's what I expect to see on that movement. With that happening, that has to deal a lot with our bonds correlated. So we should then see the bonds that we talked about yesterday, right, on Technical Tuesday, right?
Right.
And your bonds should be starting to go up higher. When that happens, people typically want to funnel their money from U.S. index or U.S. Stocks into bonds as things start to get turmoilish, if that's a right word. It is not even the right word.
I like it.
Turmoilish, yeah. But in the same sense, again, yesterday we saw a sell off of gold, but again, we're hit an all time new high. Not all time new high, but we got close to an all time new high in gold today, and we saw a decent amount of volume coming in. So really interesting to see what's happening there, which that correlates with what you were saying with dry powder, is that as prices start to go down, right? Not go up, but go down, because the PPI and the CPI are showing that there's not enough demand for the goods and services. So that means that companies and industries have to lower prices to that. And this is going to be a good thing. It's going to be a hard thing. But as the US debt starts to push, and here's the thing, the government wants to cause inflation. So basically it inflates as our debt to go. It basically allows debt to go down when you have inflation. But if we have deflation or stagflation, right? What's going to happen is we're going to go through, and I think we're going to I think the government's going to put a huge initiative. We're going to see a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of young men who don't have jobs, who are struggling. I think what's going to happen is that angst, one, they're going to start working out. Two, they're going to start getting more testosterone in their system because they're actually going to have time. And then when that happens, they're going to want to start to build things. And so when that happens, we're going to see an economic boom like we've never seen before. And so I'm excited about to see what's actually about to happen over the next year, 2, 3, 5 years from here. And I know that sounds crazy with what I'm saying, but it is. I've already talked about this. Key point is this: is that if us doing this, it could really damage what's happening in China, India, and Russia, right? And so hence causing us to kind of get the upper head. Even though everything will crash, it's like we're the fat man on top of everybody, right? So we're basically gonna like fall on everybody, with especially when it comes to like the stock market and everything that correlates there. But ultimately, it's playing right into our hands. So Tom, you will sooner or later have powder here in a minute. So once we start to demonstrate our trades, and then people start to pay for it, and then boom, people make money. As people make money, they'll be happy. All right. Anyways, long story short. SEC Chairman Paul
Hold on.
Atkins.
I was going to say, pay attention to the timer there. I'm actually going to use it now.
Oh, we're doing it now? Okay.
Yeah, unbelievably, we're actually going to pay attention to our timer here. For those of you watching on YouTube, X, and all the other platforms, enjoy this commercial while I take care of some business here on the Rumble end. All right, ladies and germs. Let's see, which one should we read here? Download the Rumble app. It's free, it's simple to use, and it's the best way to stay connected to the content that you want. Once you got it, search for our channel here, DYOR Media, and hit follow. That way you get a notification every time we go live. No missed shows, no extra steps, ladies and gentlemen. You can grab it right now using the link in the description or in the pinned live chat. Download it to your phone and you're ready to go. And if you prefer watching on the big screen, Rumble is available on all the major streaming devices and smart TVs. Just search for Rumble, follow the channel, and be part of the action. Ladies and gentlemen, Rumble's been very important to us lately. Really appreciate it if you were to click the QR code here. Do your thing. You're on the big screen, just go like that. We'll just start pulling up. In the live chat, there's a link also. And if you're watching this on replay, go ahead, bottom of the description. It gets you to download the Rumble app. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, it's apparently technical instinct. But thank you to Rumble for sponsoring this segment, DYOR Live.
Really interesting. I love that. And one thing to also add, one thing about is that they allow so you can see whatever you want. Stay crazy left, crazy right. They just want to do it. And I think that's a good thing, right? Because if you hear this idiot saying, they did doctors about that great. Literally, when somebody just stops or allows other people to take action, realize how dumb they are. So,
Okay, Joe, let's spend exactly 2 minutes and 42 seconds talking to the audience here. Let's bring back the YouTube crowd here. Everyone, thanks on YouTube, X, and Twitch for waiting for us out the commercial. Crypto Mike, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it here.
yeah, but
Crypto Mike says it's okay so long as you make it. Talking to Crypto Unicorn, who says here and then late again. Yeah, well, you made it. Jason Spurgis in the house, and then also I saw the better half of the Spurgis family, Shireen Spurgis, joining us. Thanks for joining us.
did.
We really appreciate it. Every chat counts, and Shireen, that's and Jason. Those are the both times that first times I think you chatted in September, so that helps us get to our goal of 20 unique chatters. I really appreciate it. We should be right on the edge. Kaching's in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Kaching coming to us from the disaster state of Minnesota, home of Tim Waltz and all the weirdness that's going on there. I continually watch the videos that come out from the mayor of Minnesota, and I'm just going to say it. He is a 100% crackpot, and New York City is about to vote for a similar crackpot. This guy in New York, whatever, I can't remember his name. He's saying that he wants to have state-run grocery stores, of which you would have to compete against the largest food buyers on the planet to run that store, like against Kroger and
Doesn't he
Safeway and all
remember?
these. And all of those, Kansas City just tried it. It's a disaster. And in fact, everyone just goes in and steals the food and leaves. And so they're starting to shut it down.
I did say that. Yep.
And they've got when this evidence was pointed out to him, he didn't say, "Oh yeah, but we're going to try a completely different model that's different." What he said is, "Well, there's lots of lots of cities contemplating this." Yeah, like one person in the city council brought it up. I think we should have communism, and they all went, "No, no, you out, out, out." And in New York, they're embracing this guy. But I feel for the New Yorkers. They are entitled. They're a bunch of entitled people who think that they deserve rent control and cheap rent. Then when they want to build new apartment buildings, they're like, "Whoa, not in my neighborhood! No, that's going to ruin the character of the neighborhood." And then some prices go up, and then they say, "Well, it's going up too high. Prices are too high, so we need rent control." Then they bring in more rent control, and the landlord's like, "Well, we can't fix up our buildings now, so there's no money, so it goes to crap." And they're like, "Oh, we have to throw the landlords in jail because they're evil." Just knock off this zoning crap. Let people build tall buildings as they need to, and the prices will like magic just balance themselves with demand, supply, demand. It works. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, it
Well,
works.
I also want to add to the other side, the New Yorkers there, because I frequent New York quite often. I wouldn't say they're entitled, 'cause I think it's the wrong word to use. Is it that they were accustomed to a certain type of lifestyle and price did go too high? I mean, dude, when you look at if I go into New York and I want to get a Starbucks drink, it's going to cost me $20+, right? It's like inflation is real over there, right? Like people don't realize like it's struggling. And so this idea of telling a mom who lives there, who struggles, who works, and she makes X amount of money. Here's the thing: you can make $100,000+ in New York, and you live like you're living on 30,000 or 20,000. like in other places around the country. I mean, actually, if you go down to the South and you live on $30,000 and you're a single man, maybe 30 or 40,000, you're living a pretty decent life. I have a friend of mine who literally went from New York to um to uh, uh why am I forgetting what it's called? To Texas. They moved to Texas. And same job, same everything. He was living in a crack house in a sense, right? And I use that because people there were like, it was really bad. Took the same job, same everything, right? But cost of living was changed, right? He now lives in a nice apartment. Everything's great. And and he's doing well, right? And so like I want to add this, like you just simply saying that they're entitled. It's not that they're entitled, it's a real struggle. And we're not just talking about rent, we're talking about everything out there. And again, I'm not telling that you should sit there and say you can only have a certain amount. There needs to be some form of regulation, but also with an understanding, right? Of like, look, you got to let people run businesses and be able to charge so they can actually have a certain amount of money. And to sit there and tell them, Tom, I would disagree with you. I don't think that's right. Like, have you been in New York? Have you talked to single moms who are raising kids, or even couples that are raising kids that are struggling? Right, they're making 200,000 a year and struggling in New
You know
York.
what? I use the word New York when I do that with people. So I should be a different beast
Yeah,
than the Bronx or Yonkers or Staten Island, as they like to
Staten
say.
Island.
We'll take
I'm
the
on the
train out to Staten
island.
Island. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I should clarify that in Manhattan, there's like I was watching a thing showed the overlay of Manhattan where you're allowed to build, whatever you need to for supply, and it's only like a third of, not even a third. It's like a fifth of Manhattan is zoned where you can just build big buildings and house as many people as you need. And the rest of it is like you can't even build anything more than 3 stories in a big part of Manhattan because people are like, oh, it's historic and you'll block my views and that kind of stuff if you build a 5-story building. Meanwhile, it's historic and they're rent controlled, which means all the buildings are falling apart because the owners they can't they've the land's appreciated. They've taken out loans on the land uh, or on the house to fix it up a long time ago, and now they don't want to just take out more debt to fix it up. They want to be able to pay the debt off. They're just not doing the maintenance and stuff like that. So I apologize to 4 of the boroughs in New York. One of them I'm not apologizing to because
there you go. I would okay.
you
There we go. Because the nuance is important. Because I mean, when people do watch us, right, and we have people in New York, I want you to know, like, I get it. Like, that's real. Not all like, and right now, even what's happening in Manhattan is being priced out. So it's just really kind of difficult and like overall in general. So,
what was the one guy? The rent's too damn high. Started his
oh
own
yeah,
political party.
yeah, yeah.
The rent's too damn high.
Literally, that was literally the name. The rent's
Yo,
too damn high.
Stu, your rent's too much. Don't be pulling under that, falling down the stairs. Shit, you hear me?
It's
Name the movie, ladies and gentlemen. Name the 1990s movie. It's a classic.
it
Yo,
is
Stu, the rent is due. Don't be pulling none of that, falling down the stairs. Shit.
that is funny.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, this
Okay,
day, I'm really looking forward to tomorrow, Pedro. Back in
me
my
too.
own home in the
I'm looking
studio.
forward to you being very much am.
Not only that, I noticed in fixing the great comment machine here, as I call it,
Yes, sir.
I didn't pick the one that I normally do. I picked one that I don't know if you've noticed, but there's like glitches going across the screen all the time,
Yes.
just like little, like we're in the Matrix. And I don't know if
Yeah.
any of you viewers noticed that.
Did have Joe Pesci.
Or they just assume that I was screwing something up again. Crypto Mike says, "Did it have Joe Pesci the movie? No, it was not Pods Attraction. No, no, no. It had Eddie Murphy though.
Little Eddie Murphy. My favorite line from him, uh, when he comes to America. What is that? What was that movie called?
Coming to America.
Was it Coming to America?
Yeah, that's the movie I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was thinking of Born in East LA for whatever reason. Sorry, and that's a total another movie about immigration. Anyways, um, coming back here to the economy real quick. I want to throw this out here. Um, what are your thoughts on if we start to see things really start to fall apart, right? Where do you think people are going to put their money towards? I mean, do you think people are going to just hold it? You think they're going to put it in bonds, stocks? What are your thoughts on it? Yeah, and the people who are in the market.
I think you'll see uh, people stay in the market because what's not going to happen if the market crashes is the government is not going to ease the tax burden. I mean, you'll see some people smartly will watch if the market really tanks, goes down 30%, let's expect that, there's hints of a government bailout and, or printing some more money to drive the market up again. A lot of people will take the opportunity to sell and get and do a wash trade and get a much lower tax rate, get back in it, pay the taxes on it. And I'm talking to people that not super rich. I'm just talking, wealthy people that have a portfolio that they can manage. But the regular guy is just going to suck it up because that's what we always do. We suck it up and we take it, back here, and hope that the future brings us better results. But we we'll raise holy hell on the internet and with our congressmen about not letting this happen again, and that's going to cause the government to overreact and do a stimulus package that will add to the debt and in the short term fix everything. That's what stimulus packages do. But in the long term, just
They do not fix
balloon our debt.
everything. They literally actually destroy America by putting
No,
more.
I mean in the short term. I mean, like I mean, in the 6 month period, the market responds, boom, everything's great, hey, everything's great. But then all of a sudden, there's this debt, and our money's worth less. And so in the long term, it's a huge problem. Uh, but so that's what we do. And congressmen want to keep their jobs, so they're like, okay, I'll do whatever you want. Just stop tweeting my name with those evil memes.
Yeah, and the benefits, like, it's all about people receiving benefits. I mean, I think it's gonna have to go back to, like, in the '70s where, I mean, literally, and it's gonna sound crazy, but, like, I think they're gonna be in assignment. We're gonna I think we'll build insane insane asylums. Why am I forgetting? They're not. Basically, old folks' home that's gonna be basically like insane asylum. Like, how that bad, like, because I think people will get their Social
I
Security,
think
Medicare. Yeah, Social Security, Medicare is going I think we'll have state-run hospitals instead of people living, and I think what they're gonna go through is cut in half Social Security. I think that's gonna have to happen as the aging process starts to happen and the baby boomers go from, conscious, voters to literally, hate to use the word, and I think it's gonna happen with Gen X and Gen Y is that's what we're going to have to do. We already know that we're not gonna receive, I hate to say it, any type of money from Social Security,
right,
and so I
not
think that
planning on it.
yeah, like, it's like I'm not planning on the $1,300 that I'm supposed to be getting from them, right, on a yearly basis already, and so, um especially with this idea, and that money's going into the baby boomers. So as I get older, as Generation Y gets older, X and Y, we'll sit there and be like, "Yeah, we're gonna have to figure this out. Y'all going into homes, and we won't put you away." But I think what's gonna happen is they're gonna go through and really push a narrative of, "We've gotta toughen this up." Like, we've all gotta toughen up, and that's just how it works, or America goes bye-bye. I think that's what's going to happen.
Well, one of the things that are gonna happen also is that there is a lot of a large amount of people that are aging that are single, and these people are very stressed. A lot of them are fine. They're like, I got tons of money, I don't care, because they haven't had kids, they've had good jobs. But a lot of people are have been like once or twice divorced. They're growing old, growing single, and they're going to retire without the nest egg they need, and they're going to quickly burn through it. And they've spent a whole life of being stressed out. I think we're going to see a much larger or a huge increase in the amount of elderly people, not with disease problems, but with mental health problems because they've just
Mm.
burned themselves out. And a long time ago in the 70s and 80s, the United States eviscerated our mental health program. We had very good mental health programs. It came out of a result of World War II. A lot of people finished that war, even the people that didn't go to war, but contributed on the state side. And people, we worked ourselves to death. We, not me, but people worked, essentially for 6 years, two before we were officially in the war, and then four with the war, and then even a few afterwards when we were fixing Europe. People were done. They were toast, and our mental health problems exploded. And we funded that very well until the 70s. We started cutting it back, and then Reagan completely cut it off. And the states couldn't pick up the slack when the feds stopped the federal funding for it. And all those problems dropped right out into homelessness, drug use, all this type of stuff. And we're going to need that safety net back because there's going to be a lot of people that are not. Last thing you want to see is like all of a sudden, a million people age 80 out on the street, with no family. Uh, it, it, it's it's a problem. It's a problem. We could have whole different shows um, all about the mental health and its effects on the economy, and not just about mental health itself, but the effects on the economy are massive. Crypto Mike says, "Guess the movie was spelled Brewster's Millions and had Richard Pryor." That was a great movie. That was a great movie too. Where he would inherit the $100 million. Uh, what did he? He would inherit $1 billion if he could spend $100 million in 30 days and have exactly zero left, or something like that. And he bought the stamp, the super expensive stamp, and mailed it. It was worth nothing. That was a good one. That was a good movie, Mike. Pedro, um,
Throwing this out as well. We have another commercial.
yeah, we're gonna run the commercial break here, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back with you in just a moment. If I don't see the commercial break here. Let's try this one. Nope, that's not it. That's Space Lounge. Let's try this one. There we go. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for waiting us out there at the commercial break. Well, Tommy Boy got his SHIT here together. Welcome to DYOR Live here. This is Pedro Garcia in the box next to me. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking. Ooh. As I head.
It's okay.
All right. PTSD on that. PTSD post.
Let's go. You're going to go.
PTSD. I can't even do it right. Anyway, welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is our final half hour of the show today. As they say, it's been an interesting week so far in the markets because we've still traded in the idiot box a little bit. Movements in Bitcoin, Pedro. You pointed out in the chart earlier that it's got some gain here, got some here, but still kind of really broken out. You can see in the number ahead of me, we're in 113. We got up into the 114s earlier today on a little bit of a pump from the TPI news that came out. But really, that was just I would say that it was just a bunch of day traders doing stuff and market makers working the market. Overall, not really. I'm guessing the big houses kind of knew what was coming for the PPI, not as insider information, but because they employ lots of people to figure that stuff out as well. And so not really a lot going on because one of the reasons why up until now, Mr. Trump hasn't really talked about tariffs, Pedro. Yet, in an article you just sent me,
he urges.
What was it that urges the EU to impose 100% tariffs on China and India to cut Russia's oil revenue?
Yeah.
You know what? The Indians just love their cheap oil. They're just not going to do it. And in the entire kind of middle part of China, I think they have pipelines now from Siberia right into Mongolia and across Mongolia into China, and I just don't see that stopping. You can wish for it all you want, but I think it's going to go. Was there any other tariff news at all?
Yeah. So what I thought was really interesting as well is, and I think this is not a tariff, but it kind of is a small little tariff. America is going through, and we're really, like we were talking about earlier. Are we?
Your camera died.
No, my camera's up and running. It's good.
Came back.
That's interesting. My thing was up and running. Okay. What I thought was really interesting is that, so the whole entire push for the stable coin initiative here in America, and we talked about this literally last summer when Biden and Harris were fighting and battling out who was going to try to win the election, right? And Biden was running. And I said, listen, when it comes down to it, we need to see an America where people buy our bonds. And the only way that we're really going to see that is really with a connection and merging of USDT, USDC into the treasuries. And so for us to buy that, China's no longer buying it. The rest of the world isn't buying it. But if we can push the narrative that crypto is literally the best thing on the face of the earth, which I truly believe that, then the narrative then captures the rest of the world, and then the world will have to go through and buy crypto to really capture and stay above inflation. Now, on the back end here, I've talked about how, over the while, that we're going to see the government's going to need to get crypto natives to really connect that to the U.S. Treasury. And you thought I was crazy. I remember we were sitting and you literally were like, what? Like, what are you talking about? I wish we could go back. I remember because I did
just crazy talk.
It was back then because Biden was completely against. And I said, Biden sooner or later going to have to adopt it, or Trump is going to adopt it. But this is going to happen regardless because we need the U.S. dollar to be able to basically get bought up. Or the U.S. Treasuries, because America, we need to fund our government, i.e., the baby boomers in a sense, right? And a lot of the allotments, entitlements that they get, and i.e., also other people who work, But the reason why I'm saying this is this, and this is that the U.S. dollar is literally a tariff when it comes to that. Like, if you think about it, like, when they go through and they buy USDT and USDC, that company, USD Circle, has to go and get that back to buy an actual treasury, right?
Yeah.
And so it's basically causing the rest of the world to when they buy crypto, to buy US treasuries. And I sat there and I was like, even though it's not a tariff, it kind of is, because and the funny part that kind of cracks me up even more is that as inflation keeps happening, or deflation, whatever we start to go into, crypto's not going to die. I asked Chuck to really put that narrative of, right now we're at 4 trillion, but I think in the next 10 years we'll be at 40 trillion easily, absolutely easily. And then within, 15 years after that, 20 years after that, I think we'll be up to 80 to 100 trillion dollars as crypto keeps branching out, and we start to see much of the regular TradFi institutions come onto blockchain. We already know Atkin is pushing for everything to get put on blockchain, and so this is
Right.
just one of those things that I'm like, and then China and Russia is fighting against it now. We keep hearing, India's fighting against making it legitimate. But if they keep their people poor, it's silly, right? If I'm an Indian person, we deal with Indian people all the time, right? Who reach out to us, ask us, hey, can we be your
Support.
tech support or whatever it be, right? But they want to buy. They want us to pay them in crypto. And so it's just like one of those things I just find it really interesting. Really interesting.
Pedro, I want to go back up and talk about the
Yes.
U.S. Treasury thing that you mentioned here. Listening to a commentator talk about Tether buying treasuries and stuff, and then a couple of minutes later, I was listening to someone else talk about real world assets, and one of the things people are doing is they're offering tokenized treasuries. And then I thought to myself, I said, "Holy shit!" So say I'm a mid-level institution, and I want to buy $50 million of treasuries. And I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to do it in real world assets. I'm going to do it on the blockchain, and I'm going to call up my my guy over at real world asset company number 9 and say, I need $50 million of tokenized US treasuries. He said, okay, all you got to do is send me the USDT. Oh, okay, I'll do that. Or USDC, whatever, stable coin, a proper one that's backed. And so they say, all right, so they go over to Tether and say, here's my 50 million US dollars, or, do it on Binance or wherever they do it. Tether now has to mint 50 million. So assuming that's not just sitting in someone's wallet that they can just let's say Tether has to mint it.
Okay.
And they mint the money. They take the 50 million in cash. They send the guy his USDT. Tether now has $50 million in unbacked treasuries. They go buy some US treasuries. Now the real world asset company says, hey, we only got $10 million in treasuries on hand. Now we got to go buy treasuries to sell to this guy.
Yeah.
Because he wants real treasuries. So
gotcha.
As a result, we get essentially $90 million of treasuries are bought
absolutely
for one guy wanting $50 million exposure.
Absolutely. This is what I was trying to say. You caught it. You got it.
I was like, this is not going to work long term.
Well, here's the thing. This is the part also. When you think about large institutions like Walmart, who are creating their own, this is the part. This is something to really understand. Their own stablecoin, their own ecosystem. So every time I go onto Amazon now, right, because they're also creating their own stablecoin. When I do business, I'm going to go through and I can use USDT, but when I buy something within that USDT, and I'm almost positive that Amazon is going to give me a discount, almost like the frequent flyer mileages or stuff like that, because they no longer have to pay the 3% interest, not interest, but 3% fee, a 1 to 3% fee through the SWIFT system. So now that extra money goes to whom? one, goes into Amazon's pocket, but two, it behooves them to get people to literally buy the Amazon stable coin, right?
Yep.
And so it solidifies them. Well, every time I buy them, they have to go out and buy more treasury. I would literally, like, if I could, because they're going to offer a compound interest off of that. They would be silly for them not to. They'll become a banking institution partly. This is what Elon Musk was trying to do in relationship to creating a Dogecoin that correlated with X, right? And the fees that creates as well, right? They can instead of charging 3%, they can charge 1% or even a 0.5% off of the transaction, which is still negligible compared to the old system.
Right.
And it's less energy, less people are it's not people power, people intensive, why am I employment, what's the word for employment? And anyways, that cost, it's not, I don't, all it is the boop boop, and it's done through me and the other individual. I don't need a intermediary to correlate for that buy button, because it's on the blockchain, it's on the chain. So it is one of those things that, like I said, on a compound level, it is going to generate literally hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars once we start to see everything go on chain, because it's going to free up all that money, and all that capital will then be able to get deployed into the real market versus being held up. But on the back end, how much money right now is sitting in market?
Wait. On the back end right now, you missed the timer again. I'm flashing it. I'm blinking it.
All right, go ahead, bud.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to run off to a Rumble ad now and do some audience interaction here. For those of you watching on YouTube, we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Brandon Commodities.
All right, let's see here. Which ad are we going to get? Oh, yes, we're going to get the monies. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun. Hey, football fanatics, are you ready for some primetime NFL action? Tune in to Westwood One Sports for all the gridiron glory that you crave. From jaw-dropping touchdowns to game-changing plays, don't miss a moment of the excitement. Catch every snap, every tackle, every victory on Westwood One. You can listen to the NFL on the NFL app, or on Westwood One Sports app, or on WestwoodOneSports.com via the Westwood One station streams, or by asking Alexa, open Westwood One Sports. If it's the NFL, it's on Westwood One. Ladies and gentlemen, I know it's what you want to do. NFL time, right? You're in fantasy sports. You're going to watch it all day, Saturdays and Sundays when it's on. That means you need to click this QR code right now. Download the Westwood One Sports app and get going with it. Our sponsors are short. I'm not just going to ask you. I'm going to tell you to download it right now, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching on your phone, there's a little link right there. If you're watching on the there's a description down there. If you're watching on the TV, hold up your phone. Let our advertisers know that our audience is interested in the NFL. Thank you to Westwood One Sports for sponsoring this segment of DYOR Live. I got a little
Why?
I was going to say, we still got a minute or so left in this. I was just the audience here. Yeah, let's wait till the speech is over to the fourth half hour section here. But on that note, there's a lot of you out there watching the show today. Who brought out maybe Draco in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Draco. Hey, Spruce, joining us. Good much from you. I hope the Barbers is going really well. Brando Commando in the house. Thank you for joining us. Brando, really appreciate it. Of course, Crypto Mike all the way from Canada. Crypto Mike getting farther away from the turn down the music stuff. I would come back. Sorry about that. Oh, yeah, it's like sorry about that. Music is loud. Garcia in the house, man. Good to have you, brother.
Correlating to what we're seeing here with XRP, because Mr. Brando Commando, I'm calling me XR Pedro. That's funny because XR Pedro, XRP. Anyways, I thought it was very cute.
Anyway,
Very, very cute.
welcome back, everyone on YouTube. You probably heard during the commercial break, you probably heard our voices. Also, don't have that exactly figured out right yet. When I'm on the remote thing here, when I came back after reading the Rumble ad, that's probably what you were hearing there. Jesus, when I run that commercial, you're supposed to hear that cool music, a big dramatic build up for when we come back on the air, and then you're just waiting to hear this crypto information. Anyway, crypto information it is. Pedro, what's going on with XRP?
XRP. So it's actually starting to break out. It's looking pretty nice. The only issue is it's flying off of that 50 period moving average on the daily, which means that it's fighting against that 8 period moving average. So on the weekly, um, I would expect to see it kind of pull back off of this level here. You can see here that we actually have a weekly, and we'll put this in here real quick. We're going to do that with a nice little 3. We're going to pop it like this. Boom. So
Ladies
this
and
is
gentlemen, I don't
not,
have the great graphics machine going today, so you're looking at XRP. Pedro, if you could just remind the people what time frame the chart is you're looking
all
at.
right. So what I'm looking at, I just went to look at that weekly 8 as well as the, there is a weekly zone sitting here, which is a big deal. Sitting right here with a weekly 8. And then that also correlates with the 50 period moving average on the daily. And so that typically is a bad sign of basically saying, hey, most likely we're going to go down. Now, this is how you're going to know if it doesn't, if we're not going to see it go down. One being, we need to see more volume. So if we can close volume above yesterday at a substantial level, which is basically seeing this, or seeing this day, which is today, close above this day, which was yesterday. We want to see that. Okay, we want to see that. I'm going to see that come in large. And additionally to that, on the daily, or excuse me, on the hourly, I want to see today put in demand wicks. And we're not putting a lot of demand wicks in when we look at it. We're actually seeing more or less just as it's pushing up, kind of supply wicks. It's kind of playing around here. So I would love to see longer demand wicks here. So this is why I think we're going to come down here off of this and come back and test the highs here of the zone of this. What do you call? What do you guys call this? This is the 8 period moving average here, which is funny. But this, what do you call this? Channel line. The channel line is what
It's been
you
a
guys
long
call it.
show, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me.
Yeah. So this area right here is kind of like where I'm looking at that 8 period and the higher part of the channel line, or as it comes down. So don't get too stoked about it. If you're going to be playing this, is actually be a great play to play on the futures. If we start to see a sell off later tonight and it come back and test this lower 8 period moving average, basically seeing it touch that 302 area and kind of come back down to that 288 area potentially, where you can take that play on the futures. But if it holds here, right? If we see it hold with higher volume than usual, then I would expect us then to actually push through this area here. But if it doesn't, all this is just a rope a dope to get too excited for them to come around and take that money from you by buying in, you being their exit liquidity. So be smart, be wise. But Brandon Commando, it is good to have you, brother. Always a pleasure to have you. How's the wife? How's the kids? Hope everything is going well, my friend. Alrighty. Quick question. Tom, who is the richest man right now? Isn't it Elon Musk?
One would think he is way ahead of everybody, Pedro, but apparently this is not the case.
Really? Tell me about
No,
it.
no. Apparently Larry Ellison has passed Elon Musk as the world's richest man. Now we know Tesla stock floundered a little bit, but it's still in the mid 300s, right? Something like that.
Hmm.
And at its high, it was 800 or something like that. So Musk, Elon's wealth that's tied up in Tesla has dropped by half. So we have to assume that he's lost a lot of money, or let me rephrase that. The value of his that's been unrealized it cannot be realized. Um, and Mr. Ellison's investment in, I don't, or is Oracle just going up like crazy, or has he got a second gig going, which he's making a ton of money too? I mean, how is
Oracle's super
Larry
strong.
Ellison?
Oracle is one of the top AI companies currently right now. I mean, they are really doing some dynamic work with AI, uh, uh, AI networking systems and setting things up. So they're doing really good. They're kind of an undercover company, but they pay their people really well, and they're doing good. I mean, when it comes down to it, they'll probably be next and connect with. I mean, they do a lot of business with Nvidia, stuff that they set up from an actual software standpoint. They do a great job. So, like, people don't realize, but when it comes down to Oracle is a beast when it comes to fundamental. I keep wanting to say fundamental analysis when I'm trying to say no brain, no fundamental design, and like from a blueprint standpoint of software. Wow, you talk about a word salad there, bro. Basically, um, s- uh, sal- uh, they create software that everybody else uses for AI. There you go.
Right. Pedro, I read an interesting article about adoption of AI in not just Fortune 500 companies, but in the in where most of the people work in the small and medium enterprise businesses, and it's actually come to a grinding because everybody that had the wherewithal, well, it's in two categories. Well, people that just haven't addressed it at all yet because they don't have they're running around as entrepreneurs. They don't have time to do it and try something new, uh, and thus are starting to fall behind. But a lot of the larger companies have said, "All right, we need to see how this can help us," and so they threw a lot of money and time at AI chatbots, at sales leads, at all this type of stuff. They spent a lot of money um, and have not really seen big results. In certain areas, plenty of cost savings or the ability to figure out factory planning a little bit better and stuff like that, which are all long-term gains. You see that way down the line. Uh, but the article specifically talked about how companies were just throwing AI at everything. Uh, but what happens, and this is what many managers forget, is that there's nothing you can do to help the poor performing employees. Poor performing employees are that way because that's their mindset. They are going to be the poorly performing employee. There are some that are just need the right tools and they're like, oh, I get it, and they'll be a better employee. But most of them that are poorly performing, and that's about 20 to 30% of every organization has a bunch of them. That bottom 20 to 30% are just always a pain in the ass. And so they threw a lot of money at AI trying to help those people. Didn't work at all. And what they should have been doing is throwing AI at only their top people to make them super producers. There's the top salesmen to super produce. Their top managers to get even more done. Get the superstars of their organizations going. And so all these organizations are out there trying to. They're like throwing darts at the wall and not hitting the target. And that's very common when new things are adopted into any industry. But it was really interesting to note that the adoption, it's kind of come to a stop because people have adopted it. The board of directors aren't, well, we spent many millions of dollars adopting this. Where's the return? And they're not showing returns on it yet. Now, obviously, their AI companies are showing returns because they're blowing up. And I'm talking about Jim's Manufacturing Company,
Yeah.
Ellie's Consulting Company, Jane's Health Clinic, that type of stuff. And and so I think we're clearly we're watching the AI thing take off. But if businesses are halting the adoption of it until they can better figure it out, I think we're going to see a slowdown in the growth of AI and possibly a slowdown in the growth of AI stocks, Nvidia, Oracle, and that type of stuff. Because businesses are like, all right, okay, I got a chatbot, great. Now what? Where's my return on investment? Well, I got to fire Betty. Betty doesn't have a job now because we got the chatbot. okay, that's not a return on investment. It's the board of directors like, okay, you saved $70,000. Okay, cost us $1 million to implement all this. Uh, mm. So it was a very interesting article. It was not very much fact based. It was more observation based, I believe, and I think the
Empirical
numbers.
versus
Yeah, I think it was sourced from the data out there at large. It wasn't like they did it, a study of 1 million businesses, something like that.
right.
But I found that very interesting. I was like, well, that makes a lot of sense because in working in various companies that I have, even owning them, I've seen plenty of people, managers, and people that work for me or next to me or whatever, try to help those really lousy employees, and there's just nothing you can do. And even if you get rid of them, you know, over time you end up with 20% of your employees just being lousy. 60% of them fall right into the medium, and 20% of your employees do most of the innovation, creativity, hard work, lead generation, whatever you want. It's just how it is. It's not
It's
manager
80/20
based.
rule.
It's just
It's the 80/20.
yeah. It's very very similar to the 80/20 rule. Brando Commando says, "All good in the hood. Thanks for going over it."
You're welcome. Also throwing this out, dude, GameStop, GME, did they had such a crazy blockbuster report. Like it is supposedly, I mean, they're all down a bag of chips now, dude. I have not checked out their stock, but I'm
For
like,
all that and a
and a
bag of
bag
chips.
of chips, super size supposedly. So let's check this out. GME. I'm gonna check this out. They had I guess, a great quarter, and you saw supposedly it went from what was it, 23 to 25. So what is that? That's almost 10% jump in one day. So man, that's pretty crazy. I mean, comparatively, let's see if we can see. I mean, just from an actual good report earnings. I mean, if you look at them over the last year, they've literally had great earnings over the last year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they're coming up comparative to what they've been at here, and it's going to be really interesting to see what they're going to come out with. I don't know what they do. I mean, I remember they used to sell games to that thing, and then what was it? Roaring Kitty made them famous again. But it's going to be really interesting. Do you know what they do at all?
Yeah, they sell. Well,
Game
they
consoles?
used to sell all the cartridge games, and they still sell them for retro people that have retro consoles and that type of stuff. And they sell all kinds of gaming equipment, all these things we talk about, the Technic chairs and gaming chairs,
Yeah.
things. And they sell Xboxes. And I know it's right across the street in the mall. I have one. Well, I'm pointing as if I'm in Ottawa. I'm in Toronto. There's a GameStop there, and they sell all sorts of digital knickknacks related to uh, gaming. They sell computer parts. Depending on the store, they sell computer parts. They sell headphones. They sell, you know, the LED systems that people hook up around their computers. They're kind of like a mini computer store. But I would say most of the shit they sell now is online. It's not like you go in the store, and I go there because they're the closest place to me that has AAA battery for the remote.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where is this? Sorry, I'm trying to load something here. Uh, but GameStop, I have a feeling. Um, I have a feeling they were investing in their own stock and probably driving the market up for it in the meantime too. There's got to be some kind of play on that. Like it's like AMC, and they made tons of money, and they're like, "How'd you guys make so much money? The movie business didn't get any better." They're like, "Oh, we bought our stock when it was really low, and then what's his name? The guy that hyped them, Kitty Boy, or what was his name?
Roaring Kitty.
Roaring Kitty just popped up on the air. Like he just did one more podcast after years of being gone, and AMC stock went bam, and GameStop went bam like that, and then we sold it, so we had tons of cash. They made more money from buying their own stock than they did in in operations for like 10 years or something crazy like that.
I wonder if he was paid.
Right. I know.
Because he is
Just
a
slide them like
multi-millionaire now.
here's another $1 million, and then GameStop and AMC realize $500 million in appreciation in their stock.
How much is storing worth as of today? Because he went from struggling, a 9 to 5 job, having his YouTube show, and it's something. What was it? That's what it was. GameStop 120 call options with a $20 strike price expired. It exercised those. Total estimate net worth roughly about 300. He's 289 to $300 million, depending on GameStop stock prices and whether he exercises those options. He's This is crazy, bro. Guild reportedly owns 5 million shares of GameStop at $120 call options with. Oh, that's what he does. He does call options. He does. So basically, he has so much of their actual stock that he's able to write covered calls, which basically pays you premium to do that. So that's how he brings in income. And then within that income, he then invests it into other things. He has so much of it. It's like, all right, let's say Crow, right, decides to go options, right? And they decide, I mean, you could create your own Crow options as well if you had if you own a ton of Crow. Let's say I have $1 million worth of Crow, and I put out of the money, and our audience, guys, if you have any questions about what I'm saying here, ask it, okay? Just so that I know. When it comes down to, and I know Tom understands because he was in the options pit over at the New York Stock Exchange, but it's like I have this stock. I'm going to give the option to sell this to somebody else. And here's the range. Let's say GameStop ranges between $22 and what is this right here? Let me just make sure. This is $24 to about $22, $21. I could sit there and write a cover call, okay, and I could write it out of the money, let's say for $20 or even $19. And if I had $1 million worth, I may get 1% off, not even 1%. Let's say I get 0.5% of money for that, being that far out of the money there. It's very unlikely that it's going to drop down to $19, or then I would have to sell my stock. But the fact that I gave up liquidity, my stock, for the ability for it to be bought at those levels, I am paid by the brokerage that I bought those stocks with to pay me money for that liquidity that I've offered that up to. And so what that means then is he's able to, if you've got $1 million worth and I make 5%, well, what is that? $5,000 off that on a monthly basis, right? And I just keep doing that. Is that 5,000?
Yeah.
1%. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I thought so. I just wanted to make sure. Like mentally, I was like, my brain started going, wait.
I know we've done this before and been way off.
Yeah. So that's exactly Affleck. So like here's the thing. You could write, you can sell puts, which also offers the same ability for you to receive an income. So he could do a simple way out of the money cover call, cover put positions if he's got $100 million, or even $200 to $300 million off of this. And when he does that, he basically makes, what would that be, 5 times 100? So what is that? 5,000 50. That'd be $500,000 a month that he would make if he's bringing in Jill 53,000 investment in GameStop to hundreds of millions in one of the most iconic retail investor stories ever. Yeah. So that's what it was. So he'd put in like a ton of money into it, and then from there it shot up to crazy. He sold it, bought it back at low rates, and then from there, after that, he basically he does cover calls now on it. and he just brings in a ton of money, like 50. I mean, that's crazy to think about how much money he's able to garner off of that. $500,000 a month, and let's say if it's not even that. Let's say it's 50 or 20,000 a month. It's still he's still sitting pretty, and you pay 40% of taxes on that, 42% of it, depending. Actually, you'd pay probably, let's say, 50% depending on what state he lives in. 10%. Most states charge you 10% off of capital gains. Plus, then you also have the 40% for your government income. So, anyways, that's crazy to think. He's making 250,000 just off of that. But basically 10,000, 250,000. And I know I'm gonna have huge things, but based off of what he's deciding, he's gonna trade on that monthly basis for those cover calls and selling put. And if he sells the put, that in itself could be another big deal. If it shoots up, he sells it, his stock as it shoots up. So anyways, all that to say, yeah.
I don't know if you can hear it, Pedro, but I'm playing the outro music.
I hear it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll turn it off for us. It was rather loud for us.
Yeah.
But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. It's unfortunately, I know those of you that stuck with us through the whole show have seen some of the more crazy moments here of the technical Tuesday, technical Wednesday, whatever you want to call it, as in technical difficulties. And Jeff, where have you been, Jeff? That was one of the best. The best things that came up that I gotta find it, that meme song, AI meme song about technical difficulties for us.
I know.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's a great.
That was the guys from Poland, weren't they? Was it?
No,
that was the gassed up
yeah.
The knuckleheads, not knuckleheads, motorheads, the car guys.
Yeah, those guys are great. Miss them.
What was it? I can't remember what it.
They had the meme coin. I don't remember what it is, but they created the song "Technical Difficulties" for us. And they
anyway, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead, Pedro. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and they also posted it on Spotify for us as well. So they've given it to us. We could probably use it, man. I mean, it'd be great.
We you know what? You're right. We should use it. Let me see if I've hold on. I am just trying to. Yeah, I've added the credits to the Vimeo. The Vimeo thing here. That's our content delivery network behind the scenes, guys. Anyway, and everybody, thank you for joining the show today. I realized it was a little nutty here today, but we had a lot of fun. A lot of good information about the BTC, even hitting XRP today. Talking about we're talking about the job markets and that. Pay attention to that. That's an interesting thing. Could turn into a big Washington scandal, Jobgate, or whatever they're starting to call it.
Is that what they're going to call it? Jobgate?
I think I heard a couple of Twitter people call it. I don't know if the major media has picked up on it. But I want to reiterate that now two major things have happened in the world that were first called on the DYOR Media Network that became really important news items. And all of them were called first here. One was the presidential election. Justin Wallin, who's been off for all of August. You haven't seen the Swamp Pictures in a while because they've been on summer vacation. There'll be some new episodes of that coming up shortly. But he called President Trump's win based on the Hispanic vote, in that Kamala Harris was underperforming by a massive amount. Called it first on our network. None of the networks are even talking about it. Major networks, Fox, MSNBC, CNN, not even bringing it up. First here. Also, the jobs report scandal. Big scandal in Washington, D.C.
You're also another one.
And who's talking about it first? This man here on this network.
You also forgot one of the other major things I talked about is the stable coin being taken into the treasury system and it actually backing the whole entire system. And literally, we're going to see a collateralization of literally stable coins that will be merged with traditional finance. That was brought here. We talked about that first, literally almost a year and a half ago, while Biden was selling. It was in the, I want to say it was in the maybe April, maybe May, June report. I was talking about, because I was like, that's the next part. That has to be the next part. That's what they need. So we've talked about that as well here. Like,
Yep. Anyway, that's all for you. YouTube guys, I'm going to send you off first. Have a good day, YouTube. To us Rumble people, as always, it's time to go. I'm trying to figure out, make sure everything is turning off here. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's a long way of saying goodbye. All of you stayed and said, wow, we really enjoyed Tom's long rambling goodbye there. But Pedro, thanks for the information. We're going to track that too. We're going to track the stablecoin doubling up of buying treasuries here to see how eventually it drives down our borrowing costs. You know, the more treasuries they buy, the higher the price goes, the lower the yield comes. So maybe the stable coins will drive our inflation rate down and the cost of government down. Who knows? But anyway, those are for another day. The end of today is here. I'll see you from the Ottawa studios tomorrow. On behalf of Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst over here, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking. Enjoyed hosting another great episode of the show. We'll see you tomorrow, so be there.